Gas Buddy data shows the average gallon of gas hit a national record again. The average American paying $4.51 to fill up. Here in Greensboro, the average price up to $4.22 based on Gas Buddy's latest report. Well, to help you make sense of all things happening in the gas market and why we might start seeing some relief, whenever that is, we have Patrick Haan from Gas Buddy here with us today. He can explain why the prices have gotten so high, why they keep changing, what they think is going to happen next. You can text us your questions for the next 15 minutes. Here's how you do that. You text the number 336-379-5775. You can get your question answered in real time from Patrick Haan as he is here for the next 15 minutes. Okay, Patrick, first and foremost is what everybody wants to know, right? Why are gas prices so high right now?
Well, that's a million-dollar question. There is a lot going on that is impacting supply and demand at a very high level. Of course, the Russian invasion of Ukraine and how Western countries like the U.S. have responded is impacting global supply. It's acting to cut off that Russian oil. So there's a lot going on. Gasoline inventories are declining. Demand is up. All of this putting upward pressure on what we're seeing at the pump, and that's likely to continue, unfortunately.
All right, because the next question that everybody's asking is, when do you think those prices will go back down as you're looking at all your data?
Well, I wish it was soon, but it's not looking like that. A lot of this is going to be contingent on what happens with Russia and Ukraine. Will Russia exit Ukraine? Will there be improvement there? Until Russia vacates Ukraine or decides to leave, we're still going to see sanctions on Russian oil. And until that oil gets back to the market, I don't think we're going to see meaningful relief.
All right, so I know like over the last couple of weeks or so, sometimes people get their hopes up because they see the prices going down, right? And they'll go down a few cents and then they'll go back up. And so what makes the prices fluctuate that much?
Well, there's a lot of volatility in the price of oil because on one side you have upward pressure like the Russia situation with Ukraine. On the other side, a big oil consuming country, in this case China, continues to battle COVID by shutting down its economy. And we're talking about millions of people that are impacted in China. Shanghai, a city of nearly 30 million. It's almost instantaneously pushing oil consumption down when a major oil consuming country like China locks down. And so for that reason, oil prices go up one day, they go down the next. But overall, we continue to see supply dwindle for gasoline. So there's a lot of different movements happening, but most of them, unfortunately, putting upward pressure on price and only very few of them putting downward pressure on prices. And that's why that tug of war is kind of being won by the increasing prices right now.
All right, you guys have been in the finding us the lowest prices game for a while now. And, years back even, people would always say, why does one station across the street have one price and the other station have another price?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the day of the week that they're buying their supply of gasoline. Things can change on a daily basis. The price of oil can shoot up, it can go down. Stations are refueling their underground tanks every 3 to 5 days, depending on where they're located. Some may go 2 days. And so between that 3 to 5 day time frame, the price of oil may have gone up significantly or may have gone down significantly. So every station is basically paying a different price. And then keep in mind geography. If a station is located with a lot of competition nearby, they may have a lower price. Things like if they're in a central business district, their property taxes, a lot of the overhead expenses as well. But basically, the bottom line is every station is filling up on a different day and paying a different price themselves.
All right, so you just mentioned taxes because that's been a hot button issue too. A lot of people say we need to waive gas taxes or put some sort of cap on prices. Are either those feasible solutions that you see?
Well, they both induce some challenges that probably we could do without. Now, Hawaii did try to cap the wholesale price of gasoline in 2005. But the problem is that forces oil companies to then lose money. They have to buy oil or they sell oil at a higher price. And then gas stations essentially would have to cap the price. They would lose money. That would drive businesses out. And it certainly would impact and cause shortages with gasoline supply. That's exactly what happened in Hawaii back in 2005 when they tried to cap that wholesale price. They ended up inducing shortages that were pretty frequent. And so they actually went away with that wholesale price cap about a year later. So there's a lot of challenges. There's not a great fix to this. Politicians in some areas have cut gasoline taxes. That may be a potential remedy. We've seen Georgia, Maryland, Connecticut all have had gas tax holidays. That can provide some meaningful relief. But the problem is this is a global issue of supply and demand, and not just the U.S. is seeing high prices, but record prices around the world.
Yeah, we're definitely not in it by ourselves. Is there anything everybody always wants to know? What can I do to save money on gas right now?
Yeah, that's always the number one question is what can I do? And I'd say a lot of it, aside from using an app like Gas Buddy, Google, or ways to shop around for lower prices, is maybe to just consider slowing down a little bit. Things like slowing down 5 to 10 miles an hour on the interstate or around town. Those tips, they seem silly and ridiculously easy, but I tried that myself. Instead of going 70, slowing it down to 60 or even 55, my fuel efficiency went up 20 to 25%. I got 400 miles out of a tank instead of 300. Boy, that had the equivalent of saving 50 cents a gallon.
Wow. And if you do it, that means that we can do it. All right.
That's right. It's easy enough.
All right. No, what I mean is you're the guy who's doing all the gas stuff. And if that's what works, then we need to believe that that actually does work, actually slowing down some. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we're taking your text questions when we come back.